Obviously today I want to talk about, you've been with Coach Weber for a long time. Was Southern Illinois your guys' first stop together, or were you know each other before that and coach before that with them?
Well, I knew Coach a long time.
Yeah.
You know, obviously I'm from Indiana, so he's at Purdue for all those years, and you know, growing up, you know, Gene Cade and Bob Knight were kind of the establishments in that state as far as college basketball, but Coach Knight being the guy.
Yeah.
And you know, I was fortunate enough to play with really good high school players, so I would see people from their staff in our gym, and Calvert Chaney, one of the best players ever played. He's one of my high school teammates, and Walter McCarty played at Kentucky.
I had no idea.
So we grew up together, and just those guys being around and having the ability to say, you know, we were getting recruited by everybody in the country, Purdue and Indiana included.
Right.
And actually, Calvert actually committed to Purdue. And twist of fate, he ends up at Indiana. So, but that's just small stuff. Just my relationship, just first meeting Coach, and obviously I had a relationship with Matt Painter.
Yep.
You know, about the same age, played AAU against each other, and you know, when you're young and you're coming up, you know, guys gravitate towards each other in the profession, just trying to, you know, make your way. And Bruce recruited Matt to Purdue.
Right.
So when Bruce came to Southern Illinois, he interviewed me, didn't hire me the first time.
Yeah.
Then again,
did he ever tell you why?
He said I was green.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I was mad. But I think the biggest thing, but it helped me because I was a JUCO coach then. Then I went to become a Division II coach. And then, like, the very next year, he'd open up again, and he didn't hire me again. So we have this love-hate relationship going on in the beginning. Yeah. But it helped me even more because I was able to go and be a part of the Division II team that went to the Final Four.
Right.
And then third time was a charm. And then, you know, being with him at Southern, at Illinois, you know, from there being a head coach, and then getting back with him here. Obviously, the chemistry is there. It's like, you know, he's one of my best friends.
Right.
And mentor, just because, you know, the simple fact that he showed me the right way to do it. You know, like, there's so many in the profession now. There's a lot of wrong ways to do it. Yeah. And the hard work way is the way that he showed me how to do it. That's how he did it at Purdue, and you know, that's the way we try to do it here.
Was it weird at all to follow a guy at Southern Illinois? You know, when you took over that job, who was your mentor and was one of your best friends? Was that awkward at all?
It wasn't at all because I played there.
Yeah.
So to me, at that point, it was a dream come true. Not very many people get to play at their alma mater.
Right.
And then coach there too. You know, that's the biggest thing. So it was like, for me, that was it. You know, I wanted to coach where I played, and unfortunately I did.
What was the biggest difference from how you ran that team to how he ran that team?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, you know, I'm pretty psycho at times, and you know, in practice, if you come and watch us practice, I'm pretty vocal with our guys, and sometimes it's random, sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's stern.
Right.
But it's always teaching. So I think the biggest thing from me to coach is that his mind is always focused on so many things with each player, which is, you know, I don't have that. I can focus on, you know, getting guys better, but he can see a kid and say, I can run this for him, or we can do that for him, you know. And I just see, is he athletic? Can he run and jump? You know, I want to know, can he touch the top of the backboard? You know, that type of stuff. I want to know that. But Coach we can run, you know, he'll bring up a play. We ran that for Big Dog in 1990. I'm like, what?
Right.
Like, he can go to a year and a player that they had and say he'd be good running that play.
You use the word psycho. I think that's funny. We've come into practice some a little bit and watched you guys. Was there ever a time that stands out in your head, whether way back at Southern Illinois or K-State, where he had to rein you in or tell you at some point, hey, it's going to be okay, man. You know, calm down.
You know what? When I was young, probably, because it was worse then, because I just wanted to, it was get better now. Like, it was, you know, that's the biggest thing. You know, we always talk about, you want a good player in March or good plays.
Right.
And the development takes a while. You know, it takes a while with bigger guys. It takes a while with guys who don't always come in physically ready to go or mentally ready to go. But by February, March, if we've done our job and they've gotten better, then they're going to be a better player.
I remember a quote, I think it was Doug Gottlieb, who one time said, if you gave him somebody asked him what coach would you take in college basketball if you had the same roster against the same roster playing each other, like in 2K, like we joke about, and he said Bruce Weber because of him being an X's and O's guy, and you referenced like the Glenn Robinson story and that kind of stuff. Is he the best X's and O's guys you ever been around?
I mean, we just the biggest thing with Coach is that he can read ebb and flow of a game, and it might not always work out, but we're going to get a shot,
right?
And I think sometimes when you miss, the whole point is getting a shot. You know, and that's to whoever's hot, to whoever's the best player, who's hot,
right?
Or the mismatch. Get in a shot. Sometimes this is more important than the X and O itself because nowadays people switch stuff, out of bounds, sideline. You know, people switch stuff. So you got to teach them what if.
Right.
You know, I think he's really good at what if. You know, and sometimes in a timeout, you can give a guy, and this has happened with older teams, we could give Cam and Barry and Dean 3 things in a timeout.
Right.
Hey, zone, man, you know, this. You know, we could give those guys that 3. Our newer guys, you can't do that. So, you know, that's just the evolution of how we bring them up, like in the scouting reports, all the stuff we do with them. You make them multitask within a game and make them think about more than just scoring.
Right.
So
I'm curious, can you remember the first conversation he had with you about coming to Kansas State and what that was like for you?
Well, basically, we'd just been fired. I went to the Big Ten. I got fired, and I went to see him play in the Big Ten tournament. Me and my wife, we just did a getaway just to get out of town. And right after the game, he got fired. So we were just like, well, what are we going to do? It's like just sitting there thinking, like just talking. And he goes, well, you're going to go to the Final Four? I'm like, nah, I'm going to go see family.
Yeah.
Then we go back to Indiana. So I'm in Indiana, just kind of relaxing. I'm watching the Final Four, and he calls me, and he goes, go to Champaign. I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to Champaign. I'm chilling, Coach, and I'm not going to do anything. And he goes, no, get on the train. Go tell your wife, go. She goes, go back to Carbondale, get on the train, meet me in Champaign tomorrow morning. I go, what? I said, why? He goes, well, we got a job. I go, where? He goes, Manhattan. I go, New York? He goes, no, the purple one. I go, oh, K-State? Yeah. He goes, yeah. So I get on the train. My wife takes me back. She's furious, obviously. But like, what are we doing? Why are we just got home. We're going back to Carbondale. So take the train up. That night, he's not even back yet. So I just stay in Champaign for the night. He had already come here and kind of talked and did all that stuff. And then the next day, we come back to Megan, and we fly to Kansas State to accept the job. And I'm here with him. So when you talk about relationship, that's what our relationship is.
He committed you to this then, right? Like he told you. Yeah. What were your guys' how did he perceive the roster, if you remember when he first got here in the program? And then same thing for you. How did you guys look at this program when you got here?
I think when you get here and you see you had size.
Yeah.
You know, you had Rodney McGruder, who was obviously a good player. But our biggest thing was keeping everybody here.
Of course, yeah.
You know, that was the number one thing. You know, when you go into any program, that's your number one thing. Whether you know the kids or not, you got to make an educated opinion, your own educated opinion on who needs to stay here, who needs to go, who's good enough, who's not.
Right.
And we knew he had to fly to D.C. immediately to talk to Rodney. So that was the biggest thing. And I think, you know, he did a good job of really just focusing on the kids and reeling them in. And, I think, you know, me and Coach were here 2 weeks and getting a chance to spend spring semester with our guys who had just been in a free-for-all for a couple weeks in their coach leaves. It's just like, you know, a bomb exploded. Jerseys are everywhere. We're like, okay, we got to reel these guys back in now. And, you know, make them focus on the academic side of it at the end of the year, which is always hard. You go to the tournament. And, now your focus has to change, and it has to get back. Okay, we were gone for the tournament, we were going spring break. Now we got to get back into student-athlete mode, and that was our biggest thing with some of those guys. But that's the reason why we're extremely tight, and those guys come back every summer. And with that group, that first group we had, obviously they weren't ours, but they were really important for us.
Yeah, we still saw, we were at practice, I don't know, a week ago, and I think we saw Martavis Irving still there. That is pretty cool that a program that you guys kind of inherited, those kids still feel like they're your guys.
Right. I mean, and you know, when it comes down to it, they are our guys, because at the end of the day, we still coached them.
Right.
Whether you recruit them or not, you still got to get them to play a certain way. And it was a big change for a lot of them.
Right.
You know, I think the biggest thing was, you know, we just talked to them and we listened to them and tried to figure out, hey, we do this. I know you're used to that. And then, you know, for Rodney, the change was hard for him.
Yeah.
But once he figured it out, I mean, he just took off.
You guys obviously had a great year that year, won the Big 12. And then, you know, throughout the time here, went the tournament the second year, went the tournament again last year. Of course, it's a program that has, the fans have really high expectations and talk a lot. Does Bruce or even you, do you guys hear the chatter, you know, about what they expect and what they want, or is that something you guys just move past?
I think the biggest thing for a coach is to understand his fan base.
Right.
Understand that they're passionate. And we understand what just happened here in football the last 2 weeks. Now all of a sudden there's a change in thought and perception, and that's the ebb and flow of any season. You know, the one thing with us, we did the right thing after year 2.
Right.
We know we did. And, you know, as a fan, you have to think about it as a parent. And that's what we did. We made parental decisions more than basketball coaches with that third-year team.
Right.
And it set us back. But now you're going to have dudes who are going to be really good players there. And names, remember, with Dean Wade and Cam Stokes and Barry Brown. That's how we rebuilt it with those 3 guys. And those are the foundation, and they're going to be really good players. And, you know, when you recruit kids and you tell a parent, hey, we're going to make sure your kids do this, you better do it. And Bruce does that. And so I think that was the biggest thing, is that when not everything is known about what happened. Of
course, yeah.
Then there's speculation.
Right.
And the speculation shouldn't have been, but Bruce handles things like a grown-up. He's not going to tattle on, if I recruit your son and I tell you I'm going to take care of him, even if he acts up, I'm going to still take care of him whether he stays or goes.
Right.
And that's how he is.
How rewarding is it then to be where you are now, you know, be coming off a tournament berth, to have a lot of experience back, but also a good mix of young guys to have gotten through that time frame and be where you guys are right now?
It's fun. It's been great. We got a good group. You guys have been to practice. You know, I just act a fool sometimes because I like it. That's who I am. I just get on guys just to do it. But sometimes, you know, we don't have to say a word because they're doing things the right way. They might not know why, but they're trying to do what we ask, and that's the best thing you can have as a coach, is to have people or young men that you're trying to get to grow up, to just listen.
Right.
Especially in this day and age.
Yeah. The last thing I was going to ask, and maybe that leads me into it, was you've known Coach Weber for a long time, like we've talked about. How is he different now than he was those first times he was turning you down, you know, for interviews at Southern Illinois?
The biggest thing, he was wild.
Yeah.
He was Gene Cady Jr. there.
Yeah.
He was eye-popping. I was just like, oh my God, did he just say that? Like, you know, he was extremely harsh, but he was such a good coach that you could ignore. I mean, it is what it is. Like you asked Brad Korn how he was treated as a player, as opposed to Dean Wade and how he was treated as a player.
Yeah,
and he'll tell you Dean has on Pampers compared to what he dealt with in the late '90s. Yeah, but he's obviously mellow. But I think it's the right way. You can't practice kids 3.5 hours like we used to. They just aren't built that way anymore. They don't practice. They play AAU the whole summer. Yep. You just hoop. So when they come into college, they think, we're just gonna hoop today and practice. Like, wait a minute, you gotta learn schemes. You gotta learn how to do stuff. You gotta learn how to play without the ball. Like, stuff like that is difficult to teach kids nowadays. How do you play without the ball? They don't understand what that means.
Well, I said last question, but I lied. I have one more. Does he ever revert back to that guy? You know, the guy you saw back then?
Absolutely. And Arizona State game, he was completely. He wanted to. It was, the fisticuffs with the ref were going on, and him and Bobby Hurley should have both been teed up.
Right.
3 times.
Right.
The stuff that was going on and
Yep.
said in that game, I was like, oh my goodness, this is like old Big Ten. Like you
Yeah.
can say anything to a ref,
Yep.
and they'll just ignore it. So it was pretty crazy, and obviously he wanted a chance for this team to play. Obviously Xavier ranked team, not being able to do that, that was tough. And
Yeah.
But the thing is, we got our guys up the next day, and our focus was, guys, there's been a bunch of Power 5 guys lose 2 games in these tournaments this
Right.
week, and we're not going to be one of them. So I think that was the bigger concern is you got to fight through the disappointment of not flying home with a trophy
Yep.
and win the next game.
Yep. Makes sense. Well, Coach, man, I appreciate it. We'll bring you back here next week if you want.
Oh, absolutely.
And we'll talk more about you
Fun.
this time, not Coach Weber as much.
Okay.
So, yeah, appreciate it, man. Thank
Well,
you.
thank you.
Yeah.